guys, and welcome back to the Sweet Tea series. I'm your host, Taylor Dawson. I have been gone for a while, but I'm back now, and I'm here with such a cool guest. This is Alice. Alice, say your full name for me because I don't want to butcher it with my accent. I'm terrible at it.
Hi, my full name, Alicia Galvan Lopez.
Love it. Yes, this is she. You are just like a powerhouse. You have been super involved in politics. You're incredibly well educated. You have multiple degrees. I'm pretty sure you're pursuing another degree right now. You started your own foundation. You are a part of different groups. I mean, like the list goes on and on and on. But before we dive into all of that,
Yeah.
how are you?
Fine, thank you. I'm very happy to be here with you, Taylor.
Awesome. Very cool. Okay. Tell us about your educational history because
Okay.
like it's pretty big.
Well, I study law and then a master's degree in public policies. And now, as you told them, I am studying my second master's degree in family science. No,
Amazing.
because right now my more important issues, I'm a mom.
Yeah.
I have a baby boy, 2 months, baby boy. So now we are working hard in that.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and I have also a diploma in data politics and in U.S.-Mexico relations and in all the democratic system in Latin America. So I study a lot of politics, science politics.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Honestly, if I could go back and do it, I'd want to do all of that, everything you just did. But I'm going to stay in my lane, which is art,
Yeah.
my graphic design.
Nice.
So tell us the story. You mentioned to me your grandfather had a big impact on you getting into politics. Yeah. Can you share that story with us?
Yeah, of course. At the end of the 80s in Mexico was passing a political and an economic crisis in the country. So after several months discussing with my grandma about the future, they decided to take out the family to the United States to give them a better opportunity. No?
And what year was this?
San Diego.
What year?
In 1989, I believe.
Okay. So in the 90s, your grandfather got it. Okay.
Yeah. So they decided to go out. And my grandpa told me one day that he was a dream. He had a dream that changed everything, no? Because she was dreaming that he was taking breakfast in her new house in San Diego. And he asked all my aunts if they were happy in her new and comfortable life in the United States. And against what he imagined, one of my uncle asked him, like, Grandpa, why did you take out of way of Mexico if we were living there happy, no?
Mm-hmm.
And my grandpa told me that he was like, oh my God, why are you asking me that?
Mm-hmm.
No, maybe because I'm not too brave to stay in my country and to do what is necessary to do. So that night he wake up my grandma and tell her like, hey, we need to stay here.
Amazing.
And my grandma was like, what? We have several discussions about it. And now that I'm convinced to go to the United States, you say that we have to stay here. Why? Because I have a dream. We have to do something here. We can just go out and leave the country, no? We have a responsibility with our nation. So my grandma says like, no, you're crazy. And no. They stayed in Mexico, and my grandpa starts to be a politician. So I grew up with all this story, and maybe politics is kind of, I don't know how to say, it's passion, no, but it's also a vocation. And I also have that example, no? So I decided all my life to work to help my country because I really, really, really love Mexico. I know we are living a crisis, a lot of crisis, economical, political, social crisis, but I really believe that we have too much to do and to save our nation and to have again a nice country.
Yeah. And so you're from Mexico.
Yeah.
You live in Mexico City.
In Mexico City.
Born and raised. And so you said your grandfather and his family, like there was a lot of political unrest, and they were like, forget it. We're moving to the United States. It sounds like they're moving to California. Think about California.
Yeah, to California.
And then he just had a dream where he was just convinced, like, no, we need to stay in Mexico. And he was an engineer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's an engineer. And then he just decides, like, we need to, like, fix and save Mexico. And so he got into politics.
To politics.
And then your dad got into politics too, right?
Yeah.
And then here you are.
And then me.
So that's how you got to where you are in your political journey, which I just think is amazing because it's like your grandfather like had this spirit about him where he's like, no, like we need to fight and preserve Mexico. And to watch it go down several generations, like that's pretty powerful. That's pretty amazing. That's really cool. So kind of shifting gears a little bit. So you're in Mexico. What is it like being a woman in Mexico, specifically like culturally, but then also in civics, like as you work in this political field? Like, I just wonder what the difference is between how women in the U.S. function and then how women in Mexico function in society.
Well, I think that cultural, as in all the places, no, at the past, women were just being home, no. But right now in Mexico, all the women have a lot of opportunities, and we can have a baby, and also we can work. And in politics, Mexico has a lot of advance. No, right now the Congress has a half and a half of women and congressmen and congresswomen.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So I have to say that we have a lot of opportunities in Mexico. Of course, it's not easier if you decide to have a children.
Yeah.
But I really believe that we have a lot to do, and we can do both. No, what do we need? Family politics. No, and we are working on that.
That's really cool. So then, so politically, like if there's a man and a woman running against each other, like how do the Mexican people right now view that? Like, are they ready to vote for a woman? Are they like
for the federal level administration? I think Mexico is not prepared to vote a woman, but we have right now 4 candidates to the presidents. And well, we are working on that. At the local level, we have governors, and we have a lot of congresswomen. So maybe in 20 years, 10 years, we will see a woman president.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So it's
the problem, and it's kind of not political correct. We
like that here.
We have quotas. No,
What's that?
Quotas, like the 50% of the Congress have to be women.
Oh, okay,
And
very interesting.
I believe that that's not the right way. No, to push women to the power. Why? Because we need the voter. Not, I don't want a place just to be a woman.
Yeah.
I want to be in a Congress chairman because I have a work.
Yeah.
No, because I can do the best. Not because I'm just a woman.
Yeah. So it sounds like, I didn't know that about Mexico, that like you have to have 50% women.
And that is in law.
Yeah. How many people would you say that is? Like off the top of your head?
I don't know.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. I couldn't tell you either. But with that, it just doesn't, so you're saying it doesn't make sense for that to happen because you want to, as a woman, you want to earn your spot. You want to show like, I'm not here just because I'm a woman. I'm here because I'm
of my
capable,
work.
because I have a good track record. Yeah. So you sound like you're very well like steeped in all the knowledge that is politics in Mexico. So much so that you started something, a foundation. Can you tell us what that foundation is and what the purpose of it is?
Yeah, of course. That's a great story. Because as I told you, I worked all my life on politics. And one day, well, I used to work at the Senate, and one day returning home from work, I couldn't stop crying, thinking about the future. So when I came home, I was with my husband, Humberto, and Humberto told me, like, why are you crying? No, because of Mexico. Yes, I cry a lot because of Mexico.
The passion, I love it.
I'm not a normal person, I know that. But, well, that's why I'm here. So I don't know what we're gonna do. No, I don't know if you're gonna have hope here. Everything is going wrong. And Humberto told me like, okay, I really, really understand you, no? But I think that crying is not gonna change what we are living. So maybe we have to ask something, what we can do to change the situation. So that night we start thinking about what is happening in Mexico, and we ask ourselves one question. What do we want for our children? And we said, okay, we want them to live here with freedom, no? To live here with peace. But that is not enough today, no? And we want to educate them with values, with principles, and we want them to live in a country where they can profess her religion free, that right now is not to use in Mexico. But what I really want to give them was a free country.
A free country.
And if we want to give them a free country, we have the responsibility to work on that. So that night we decided to leave our jobs. No, I left the Senate. Humberto lives. He works in a law degree, and we start a foundation, Patria Unida Foundation, that used to work. Bueno, his objective is to training the new leaders that our country needs. No, so we have four principal areas. The first one is a think tank, when we are generating ideas, when we are studying all the policy that the government is actually implementing in our country, and especially we are generating ideas. No, because if we want to train people, we need that ideas. We need to know, for example, our history. We need to know what is really happening in Mexico. We did a lot of studies, no? Then the second area, that is the training area, we did a lot of webinars about the political situation in Mexico, about the economic situation in Mexico, about the social situation in Mexico, and also about our values, no? About family, about democracy, about sovereignty, about freedom, about what is the conservative ideas, no? And we have a principal program training, Patria Unida, bueno, Escuela de Líderes, Leadership School, no, from Patria Unida, that we signature a campaign with a Spain think tank, CEUCEFAS. So we choose 20 leaders. We went to Spain 1 week, and then we have an intensive course in Mexico, about 3 months. So we are training right now the new leaders that our country needs to be safe, no, and to protect our democracy and our families and our freedom. The other area is the communication area, no? So we understand that, okay, we are going to train the new leaders, but it is necessary for our foundation to be in the public life, no? And to say to the media what is really happening, and to say to the media that we are the conservatives that really want to defend our principles. Because I don't know if you know about that, but in Mexico, for example, we don't have conservative media. All are from the left. No?
Yeah, that's definitely something I want to get into for sure.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So I will reserve that for that. So we are working on that, and finally, we have the international area, when we are making relations with all the Latin America countries, with the United States, for example, with you in TPPF, and with the European conservatives, and we are working on strategies to save the Western Hemisphere. So that's what we do right now. It was an adventure. No, it was a marriage decision, but I really believe that it was the best decision. And right now that we have in our arms a baby, no, we said, this is a way to save our country, and at the end, we want to see at the eyes of our children and said, well, we did what we do. We did what we can.
Yeah.
We did what is necessary, and now is your time to work for your country, because Mexico gave us a lot, so we have to continue building a better country.
Yeah, this is really cool that you guys are doing this foundation. You have the baby. That is clearly adding fuel to the fire. You're like, yes, even more passion, which is just amazing. So you said that you train leaders.
Yes.
And so you train people. And you kind of said, you do an intensive, but what does it look like? Like, what is your goal for that? When these leaders learn and then they go back into their communities, what is your hope for teaching? Like, what are you teaching them? What do you want them to do with that information? And I will say, already having 30 leaders picked out that's pretty impressive. That's a big group.
Well, when we analyze what's happening in Mexico, we understood that all the institution stop training her leaders. So right now, all the institutions in Mexico were led by people who only were there because of money and not because of her principles. Mm-hmm. So we decided that it was necessary to have in all the areas, in the political area, but also in the social and in the academies, in media's areas, people that really want to defend with bravery the truth. Who really want to defend the good, who really want to defend beauty, who really wants to defend our principles. So we believe that it was necessary to choose a plural group, from all this area, to understand that they really understood the history of Mexico, that they really understood our principles and what it was necessary to defend them and to live the principles, not only to defend and say, okay, I am a conservative, okay, but in life I live like a like I'm not a conservative. So they return to his area, and from them they have the responsibility to learn and to teach the new generation. And they have a networking with a different area. No? So right now I know that I'm working, I don't know, maybe in a high school, but I know that there is a deputy that also defend what I defend, and I know that there's a priest that also defend what I defend, and there is a girl that works in a foundation that believe what I believe, and we are working right now together from the different areas.
That's really cool. So you take these leaders, which it sounds like the way you're communicating it, like maybe there's some misinformation out there, some maybe eroding of what the true history is.
Yeah.
And that kind of is a good segue into our policy pulse. You on your foundation website talk about socialism and how you have to counteract that. And I know that when I think of Mexico, I don't necessarily think about socialism always. So I found it very interesting that was on your statement. Can you talk about what socialism looks like in your country right now? Because again, like we think cartel and drug smuggling and all these crazy things that are happening, and like a very authoritarian government. But what is that? You said socialism. So how does that look? How does that play out in your country right now?
Okay, first of all, I want to start saying that our democracy is very young. No? So at the 28 years ago, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, our actual president, starts going to every single community in Mexico, dividing society.
Is he the one who focused, because we did a podcast earlier, is he the one who focused on like the indigenous people of Mexico?
Yeah.
Like to like flip them against the elites or like the North?
No, all over the country.
All over.
Yeah.
Indigenous people are all over, and he was just going to each of the communities and villages and explaining to them.
Yeah, and he used the media to divide a society. No, to divide poor against rich people. No, and he started talking about against corruption. No, he understood that people in Mexico hate the actual parties.
They hate the
the
parties?
actual parties.
Like the political parties?
Yeah, the political parties. So he began a movement that is called right now Morena. But all the people that worked in Morena and that works with the president, with Andrés Manuel López Obrador, were training in Foro de Sao Paulo and Grupo de Puebla. Foro Sao Paulo and Grupo de Puebla are a movement, socialist Latin American, that is led by all the dictatorships. It started in Cuba with Castro, and in Brazil with Lula. And his idea and their idea was the socialism. They were communist, no, but they make up communist and name it socialism. What is socialism in Mexico? Well, they are against human rights. They are against freedom. They are against the conservatives, and they are against rich. What they want is to generate more poverty in our country. Why? Because they understood that the poor people in Mexico have to work every day to eat. No, so they don't have time to study what is really happening in Mexico. So they control that people with social programs. No, so these people receive money from the government, and they say, well, I don't have to work. No, and I'm gonna vote you because you give me money every single month.
Yeah, that sounds very similar to what happens in America on like the left side where the government just writes these checks.
Yes.
But it sounds like, and I heard an interview that you did where you said that, well, I think, so correct me if I'm wrong, that they literally just like write checks to the citizens, and it's like, oh, they get 300 pesos and that's just, everyone gets it because that's his, or that's currently, right? Not back then.
And you have to understand that in Mexico, more than 50% of the people live in poverty.
Currently today.
Yes. Wow. So that's why.
And was it always that way? Like, since socialism has flooded, has it become worse?
Yes, it become worse. Now, Andrés Manuel López Obrador used to say, primero los pobres, poverty first. But no, that's not true.
Yeah. So he's not actually solving the problem.
He used them.
He
used them as boats, only as boats. And the worst thing is that the socialist people are authoritarian. No. But they understood that they need democracy. So they use the democracy to get to the power. And once they are in power, they destroy all the institutions, all the democracy, no, and and they are against every day our constitution, against the rule of law, and against citizens. No, so right now we are living at difficult times. No, I said we have a freedom line. No, that maybe tomorrow we can have it. So we have a big problem right now with Andrés Manuel, that is friend from Maduro, well, right now with Maduro, Petro, Boric, all the Latin American dictatorships, and also with all the communists from Europe. No, so Russia, China, Iran.
So I was telling you earlier, I got married on September 16th, which is Mexico Independence Day. And I think I overheard you sharing like what it was like there, because you're in Mexico City, right? So you got to see the celebration. Who all was invited to that celebration?
The Russia and China militaries. They were walking that day, not the United States. And people, that's the worst, they don't understand what's happening. It's like, well, there go the Chinese military. There go the Russian military. But I really believe that Andrés Manuel is giving a message to the United States, no? Like, look who are my allies right now.
That is wild. I certainly didn't know that Mexico is forming a relationship with these two major countries.
Yeah, they have been working with them these 5 years on the ground, no, of the record. So no one knows that. But right now, it's a message that
Yeah, that's
everybody
really
can see
public.
in YouTube. No, you can see the
Yeah.
video in YouTube, and that's our political message.
Oh my goodness. So the US was not invited,
No,
but Russia and
and China were invited.
were invited.
And Nicaragua and Cuba and Venezuela it was terrible.
Yeah, and that makes sense why you created this foundation then, because
Yeah.
it sounds like the people are just unaware. They simply just don't know.
Yeah.
And is that because the government controls the media?
Yes, government control. We have a lot of things, but yes, the first one is that the government controls the media. No, we have one brave people who is against the government in media, Latinos. It calls Latinos, but they couldn't work in Mexico. They live here in the United States.
Wow.
No.
Because it's not safe.
Yeah, but it's not safe in Mexico right
Yeah.
now. And the other one is because in Mexico we are not so interested people in public life. No, they make us believe that the politics is only for the ones that have how to say a puesto, that works in the public.
Got it. So they're well educated, like they were
administration.
prepared
Yeah,
for this
yeah, yeah.
lifestyle.
Yeah, so if you are not a senator or if you are not a congressman, you don't have to get involved in politics. And that's wrong.
Right.
No, because I think that politics, we are all politicians. No? So right now, people is getting involved a little bit more in the public life. Because with this government, everything is going wrong, no? So right now, a lot of people understood that, okay, it is necessary to get involved in politics. It is necessary to think for who we are voting, no? And it is necessary to vote,
Yeah.
no? Because, for example, in 2016, I was candidate, and I was talking with my friends. Like, hey, you have to vote for me, please. I never vote.
Wow.
No. Why? It doesn't matter. It is not necessary. So we have that problem.
Yeah, and so first off, super cool that you ran for office. That's amazing. And what you discovered through that, again, I think just emphasizes how important your foundation is that you created. When you were running for office and you learned that a lot of people weren't so aware that this voting takes place, is it just because the media, sorry, rephrasing the question. The media is legitimately controlled by the government, correct? Like they're the ones who handle the broadcasting, or is it like, because when we use that term in the US, the media is corrupt. They're still all independent companies, right? Like the government technically can't control our media, but it's not that way in Mexico, right? The government literally controls the media.
Yeah, not literally.
Okay.
But because of money.
Okay.
No.
So they give...
And permission, federal permission to be in TV, for example. No? And right now they are sending bad message. For example, Ciro Gomez Leiva, a periodist, a brave periodist that used to criticize the government and all that Andrés Manuel López Obrador did. One day, going to his home, he was shooting. So
he was shot?
Yeah.
Wow. And so the media
and that's
receives...
a political message.
Right.
No? The government sent a political message. So continue, criticize me, and look what we can do.
Oh my goodness. And so the government is the one who... That is wild. And I hate to say it, but that's kind of like... That's what, you kind of think when you see Mexico because of all these different TV shows that are out there. Yeah. So what would you say the U.S.'s role in all of this is? And then how did the Mexico people view the United States?
Okay. Mexican people love the United States. But this government that is a ultra-nationalist people use the history to divide society, and he is trying to divide the Mexicans against the United States. No, because of all the Texas independence, for example. So he managed the narrative against you that you stole our country, no, our land, our Texas land. And he is trying to divide society against you. But at the end, people really, really love the United States. And I think that a lot of people in Mexico want to be like you and wants to have a safe country as you have.
Do they, is there like a growing movement of like an anti-Texas movement, like we hate Texas movement in Mexico, or is it a little bit more subtle than that?
No, just in the media.
Yeah. So do people believe this? Like, are you having to like make sure when you're at your foundation, when you're educating these leaders, that you're like, guys, this is not true. What the media is saying is not true. Like, this is actually our history.
Yes. We are working on that. And people right now, as I told you, is like waking up and said, okay, something here is not right. Something here don't sounds like it is normal and it is not a common sense.
That's
no?
good, right?
So we are in that.
That's awesome. So you're saying that you're doing all this stuff. You said that someone was shot for standing up to the government and speaking the truth. Do you and your husband ever get nervous with this foundation? Like you're going to get, in a sticky situation one day? Like, do you ever concerned about your safety?
Yeah, of course. And because of two things, principal things. One, because of our safety, no? Right now is a risk to speak against the government, but it is necessary and someone have to do that. So we decide to do that. Of course, right now with a baby, we have to be more quiet people. Well, not quiet, but we have to be more strategic.
Yeah.
And the other one is because we are a non-profit association. No, and that it's difficult right now in Mexico because the government go against the people who help the kind of institution like we are leader right now. No, so we don't have, for example, unemployed. We don't receive money. No, we are living with our savings. So that's a second problem, but we are working also in that.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So the government gives money, it sounds like, to a lot of people, to a lot of institutions, and they kind of control, it sounds like, not just with the media, but with like the money.
Yeah.
Or it's like they're just going to shut off the funding and you're not going to get money if you don't essentially like line up with what they say.
Yes.
Oh, wild. But you're standing up to that.
Yeah.
You're pushing back against that.
Yes.
That's awesome. Okay, so you are concerned about your safety, and after you talked about like the priest getting shot, it is just a natural segue into our pop culture with principles section or segment. So, we're talking about Mexico, and there's a show here that it just seems like the majority of America just was obsessed over it. Just so many people watched it, so many ratings. So I can't help but like ask, have you seen the show Narcos?
No, because I really hate that kind of series. No, why? Because they are generating a narco culture in Mexico, and right now in Mexico, and I don't know why, but there are people that look that series and TV program and said, "Oh, I want to be like them.
Really?
I want to have my big truck. I want to have my my arm, and I want to be the one that have all the power." No, they put Narcos like a heroes.
They do. I'll be honest, like I haven't watched the whole thing. I started to watch the Narcos series. It was Narcos Mexico, which talked about, what was his name? I'm gonna butcher this, but
La Reina del Sur or Chapos.
No, Gallardo. Gallardo.
I don't know.
This is why I need to practice speaking so I don't mess it up, especially when I'm on camera. But it was like the making of like the Guadalajara cartel.
Yeah.
And so I started watching that, and it seemed like it was all about like, the U.S., like, we're going to stop this. We're going to come in. We're going to take them down. But it's interesting to hear you say, like, the Mexico side where they're looking at the drug lord, and they're like, no, like, I want to be like that. That's cool.
Yeah. Right now, I think that as the government couldn't save the Mexican problems, the narco at some communities help with money people to save her problems. For example, they gave money to the church to build the church, no, or to the schools to paint the schools. So these kind of series put them as heroes. No,
Oh,
and that's
okay.
why people said, they are not too bad. They are
Wow.
helping us.
Okay, okay.
No, and with this kind of series also, they are trying to normalize the narcos in our country. So people say, she's narco. Okay, it's okay. No, it's not okay.
Yeah.
She's a bad boy.
Yeah.
And we have to fight him. No.
Yeah. That's crazy. Just another situation where like money is used to just solve problems or just throwing money at the problems.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah. I can only imagine like you're living in this like poor village or whatever, and someone comes in and they like are painting the school and you find out that they're a drug lord, but they only see the nice things that they're doing. They don't see all of that really awful stuff that happens like behind closed doors.
Yeah, yeah. One day I'm going to tell you something. One day in Guerrero, we were talking with a woman that told us we don't have money, we don't have a dignity house, we don't have how to eat every day, and the government is not doing what they have to do. So right now all my child works with narcos because they pay us, and with that money we can eat, and with that money we can live, even though we know that maybe we will have 3 years of life.
Wow.
And everybody can shoot us and kill us one day. But at least right now we have money and we can eat.
That's a crazy story.
Yeah.
So she doesn't want to work for them. She's just like, I have no other choice. I need to provide for my family. Oh my gosh, it's such an awful situation.
That's a terrible story, but that's the reality.
Yeah.
In some places in Mexico.
Wow. So don't watch Narcos. It promotes it promotes bad ideology. Yeah, you actually did a great job answering all the questions I came up with. Really good. You just like got them in there. So the next little portion that we do is called the Conservative Council.
Okay.
And that's where girls, either on social media or around the office or online, will send in questions. So I'll just kind of start out. I was like, clearly Mexico isn't all that it could be. Do you see that the U.S. is headed down a similar path? If so, how?
If the United States what?
Are we headed the same direction as Mexico as far as like socialism goes? Do you see
with Biden? Yes. Because this kind of president are using right now the woke ideology. No? And they are promoting abortion, and they are promoting all the LGBT parade.
Yeah.
No? And they use socialism, and they use the Marxism, and they use all these movements to disestablish the institution.
And when you say the institution, like you're a woman of faith, right? Mm-hmm. Are you Catholic?
Yes.
And does that influence like a lot of why you do what you do and the family unit?
Yes.
Yeah. So when you say that it's starting to corrupt like the foundation, what do you mean by that? Do you mean like the family unit?
Yeah. They are destroying I always said that the left understood that to control people, they have to go against and to take away of us 3 principal things. The first of all, religion. No, because at the end, religion gave us values. No, and their religion gave us a sense of transcendence. And if you don't have that, you can do whatever you want. No, because you said, well, tomorrow when I'm not here, I don't know where I'm gonna be. No, and as a Catholic, I said I have to be a good person because I want to be safe and I want to be with God at the end of my life. No, so they are destroying religion. The second one, they are destroying families because that's the nuclear and natural.
Oh, the nuclear family. Yeah.
No, and at the end, I believe that family is the last institution and the only institution where we really have liberty, no, and the government couldn't get inside. If you really want a good society and a strong society, you need to have strong families. So that's why they are destroying families.
That's really good.
No,
very well said.
And the third one, they are destroying our nation. They have to destroy the patriotism, because if you destroy patriotism, you are destroying the history, and you are destroying people. You are getting the people believe that they don't have a responsibility with her country. No, so that what they are doing. Andrés Manuel López Obrador it is actually doing, and I believe that Biden is also doing. No, all the left hand in the region are against religion, family, and patriotism.
Patriotism, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's, I saw as you were talking, I was like, wow, there's a lot of similarities in what's happening in the U.S. Would you say U.S. is a little behind the curve? Like, is Mexico more socialistic? Do they have more socialistic tendencies within the culture?
Mexico is more socialistic, and you have one thing here that I believe that it's better. You have strong institutions. We don't have strong institutions.
Meaning that, like,
and
the government...
And you have a brave society, no? You have great institutions like TPPF that works on that. And you have a lot of people that help these kind of institutions to continue working. In Mexico, we don't have that.
Except for you.
So it's more difficult.
Except for you guys.
Yeah. So it's more difficult to defend our institutions in Mexico, to defend our principles. Yeah. But, well, I really believe that one day we could be a strong country, no? And that people at the end wants common sense. At the end, we are defending the common sense, no?
That's good.
And the common sense and the right always win. So it's just a difficult times, but at the end, we are going to win.
I love it. The common sense on the right always wins.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is a transcendental battle. No, maybe we are not, Humberto and I always say, maybe we are not going to see the results for what we are working. But at the end, you said, well, we did what it was necessary. And the next generation will live in a better country.
Yeah, kind of like David in the Bible when he wanted to build the temple and he never got to like realize that dream, but his son did. So.
Yes.
So the second question that we have from social is what were your fears going into starting this foundation, and then how did you get past those so you could actually start it?
That's a difficult question. I don't know how to answer.
Yeah, like obviously like financially can be one, like was it nervous leaving your job?
Yeah, that's the most important, because if you can pay another people to work with us, no, we can do more.
Yeah.
No, we are at the end, we are limited with time and with money. So we need help, financial support. No, that's one thing. And the other one is that we need more people working
Staff
with us.
Or,
Staff. But at the end, we said you can have more staff if you can pay them. No, we are crazy living with our savings. What it's for me, it's not right to say someone like, hey, work with me and I'm not gonna pay you. No, that's not right.
Yeah.
No, so that's our bigger problem. It's a circle.
Yeah. It just keeps leaving us up.
Yeah.
But then you eventually felt brave enough to like step into it. So like, what was the push of like, we're gonna do it? Like we've been thinking about this. We're doing it now.
No, we are have right now the CEO of one, I don't know how to say, donataria autorizada here, a nonprofit association can receive money here in the United States, no? And that Mexican people support us here in the United States and we receive the money, but the government in Mexico doesn't know who is really helping us, no? So that's our way to support right now the foundation. And we have other activities to support.
That's awesome. Okay, so you guys found a way, once you found a way to kind of finesse the system, you're like, all right, we can pull this off. sounds like you really believe in it. And so to...
Our dream
Yeah.
is to be like TPPF in Mexico.
Oh, I hardcore support that. I will graphic design whatever you guys need. That would be so cool. Also, side note, I saw your website and it's very beautiful. I was like, I can't translate myself very well, but Google Translate did a great job. And I was able to read all through it and I was like, wow, this is like really good stuff. Like, I totally think you're going to go places. And I think it's awesome what you're doing. It's not easy.
It's not easy, but it's passion.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really cool. So the last question we have is there any hope? And what would you say to those living in the U.S.? Like, is there any hope for Mexico and the U.S. to like be at peace? Probably isn't the right word, but get along, like have like really good relations. What would you say to the people in the U.S. and what would you say to the people in Mexico?
I think that there is hope for the United States and for Mexico. Only this government hates the United States, and the enemy is Andrés Manuel López Obrador. But in Mexico, the people want to cooperate with you. People want to work with you because we have neighbors. We have common problems, and we know that we can only save them together. No? And at the end, we have a lot of things in common. So I really believe that in Mexico, most of the people and also the political parties opposition wants to cooperate and wants to work together with you. Only Andrés Manuel is the enemy. But we are not Andrés Manuel. We are not Morena. And I know that at the end, we can work together and we can, as we did in the past. No?
Yeah. And it feels like, so I had my bachelorette in Mexico because I love Mexico. And, when you go there, it's like the people seem happy. They don't like, I guess there's this perception of like, oh man, if you go to Mexico, you're going to be so unsafe. Like yeah. And so it was very interesting for me when I was like inviting friends. Like some of them were like, sorry, it's not safe, I'm not going. And other friends were like, sweet, like I can't wait to check it out. And so you wouldn't say like, I don't feel unsafe in the majority of places.
No, there are local places that that you don't have to go them. But in other places you are safe.
Yeah, like Mexico City. I totally want to visit Mexico City. I think I'd be fine there.
Yeah.
I think I'd be fine. That's really cool.
The problem is that in Mexico, people are normalizing the violence, no? So we just say like, you can take the highway at night because it's dangerous, but at the day you can take it, no? Okay.
Interesting. Yeah, it's just normalizing it. So now whenever they hear of a shooting, it's just kind of like, oh, someone else got shot by the cartel. Man.
So like... you open the media and said, okay, someone is dead in Laredo. At least it's just one, not 10 people die.
Yeah,
no.
Crazy.
We are normalizing violence, and that's not right. But there are only certain places where it's unsafe, but you can go to Mexico and have a great trip.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely going to come visit you in Mexico. But before we go, I didn't let you try this tea. So let me tell you about this tea before we wrap up. So this is Texas tea. It's our sweet tea. But the fun thing about this one is that it has peppermint in it from Cedar Creek Lake. And Cedar Creek Lake is where I spent my summers.
Okay.
And we had these peppermint bushes out by like the base of the lake that we would just like pick in the summer and just eat and chew on. And so when I saw this, I was like, perfect. This is exactly what we need to try. So feel free to try it.
Thank you.
Let me know if you like it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's refreshing. It's actually really good. Oh, good. Look at that.
I love it.
Awesome. Well, we'll send you home with a bottle so you can drink it all day long.
Thank you.
So where can people keep up with you? Where can people follow you? Where can people learn about your foundation?
Okay. You have to go to all the media. Facebook, Twitter. Well, right now it's not Twitter.
Right,
X. I miss Twitter. Instagram and YouTube. Patria Unida MX.
We will definitely put that in the show notes.
Yeah.
For sure.
And www.patria patreonida.mx. I'm gonna send you.
Yes, perfect.
And I was like Alice Galvan in all the...
Just your first and last name.
Yeah.
Perfect.
My first name.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for joining us. You are so cool, so fun. You are changing Mexico. I can already tell you and your husband are such a power couple. Like, love that you guys are wanting to step into the problem and change it and make the community around you better. Like, I just am so inspired by that. And I'm sure that this passion will, continue to move on to the next generation and your son and probably other babies. So I am so excited to see where you go. And thank you so much for joining us.
No, thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely. Okay, guys, thanks for joining us on this episode of Sweet Tea. We will see you next time.